Welcome everyone to Launch Forward Igniting Brilliance, a virtual fundraiser to support Launch. My name is Lauren Dupree and my pronouns are she, her. I'm an actor, writer, vocalist, filmmaker, and teaching artist from Seattle, Washington, and I'm so happy to be your host tonight. You might remember me from last year, but in case you're new, I'd like to share a bit about my connection to Launch. As a teaching artist, I know how important it is for every child to have access to high-quality learning and care. I have mostly worked with Black and brown kids at Langston Hughes Performing Arts Institute and various organizations in Washington, D.C. Far too often, children of different socioeconomic or racial backgrounds don't have access to the programs they deserve. But it's so important, now more than ever, to bridge that gap, and Launch is doing just that. Also, fun fact, my nephew used to attend Launch. Now, before we get too far, I want to be sure you know there is live captioning available tonight. Click the CC button in your video player to enable captions. Tonight, we are, of course, having fun, meeting with friends old and new, learning more about Launch programs, and celebrating Launch's 45th anniversary. You'll also be able to make an investment in Launch's work to provide equitable access to the highest quality learning and childcare. Together, we can ignite brilliance for the kids in our community. Okay, let's start things off with a short video starring Isis Lara Fernandez from the Launch team, who is going to help welcome us and honor our local indigenous communities.
Hi everyone, my name is Isis Lara Fernandez and I am the Expanded Learning Opportunities Director at Launch. I am here to recite Launch's Land Acknowledgement. As we begin our gathering, we respectfully acknowledge our event today is taking place on occupied Coast Salish land and that we are on the homelands of the Duwamish people. We pay respect to Coast Salish elders, past and present, and extend that respect to their descendants and to all Indigenous people. To acknowledge this land is to recognize its longer history and our place in that history. To recognize this land is an expression of gratitude and appreciation to those whose territory we reside and work on, and a way of honoring the Indigenous people who have been living and working on the land from time immemorial. It is important to understand the long-standing history that has brought us to reside and work on the land and to seek to understand our place within that history. Land acknowledgements do not exist in a past tense or historical context. Colonialism is a current, ongoing process, and we need to build our mindfulness of our present participation. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so
Hi,
much,
everyone.
Isis.
My name is Isis Lara Fernandez.
Now I want to pass the mic to the Launch Development Manager, Yeritza Encarnacion Farias, to read Launch's labor acknowledgement.
We recognize and acknowledge the labor upon which our country, state, and institutions are built. We remember that our country is built on the forced labor of enslaved people who were kidnapped and brought to the United States from the African continent, and recognize the continued contributions of their survivors. The labor of slaves built many of the economic, cultural, social, and political systems with which we all interact daily. The end of slavery was followed by a series of discriminatory and repressive laws built on anti-Black racism, the generational trauma of slavery, and the racist laws and practices that continue to be passed and implemented impact American culture and our institutions at every level. We also acknowledge all the immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples, who contributed to the building of this country and continue to serve in our labor force. In the Pacific Northwest, this includes Chinese, Japanese, and Filipino Americans who, despite helping build railroads across the country and playing a vital role in sectors such as logging, mining, fishing, and agriculture during the 19th century, were subject to exclusionary laws and internment. We acknowledge all unpaid caregiving labor. Finally, we acknowledge that many of our institutions rely on hourly, student, contingent, and unpaid labor, and we recognize those contributions. All right, I'm giving the stage back to you, Lauren.
Thank you, Yeritza. And now for a bit of housekeeping as we get started. Be sure to join us in the chat. You'll find the chat box here to the right of your screen. Now, to do that, you'll need to create a YouTube channel. Click sign in at the top right corner of your screen, then sign in using your existing Google account or create a new account. So let's see who's here with us in the chat. Go ahead and say hi. All right. All right, there's a little delay, so I'll give it some time, but go ahead and say hi so we see who's here. All right, now since we're all tuning in virtually again this year, that means you could be watching from anywhere. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop it in the chat now. All right, we see Karen is saying hello. Alex and Rehana are here, all right. And I'll give you some time to let us know where you're tuning in from. Now, later this evening, we'll be asking for your financial support of launch. But you can make a gift at any time tonight. All you need to do is make sure you're registered in Give Butter. You can find the link in the description below, or we just dropped it in the chat. Pro tip, you can open Give Butter on a second device like your phone while you watch the show, or just open it up in a new tab, whatever works for you. All right, I'm gonna check the chat to see where everybody is joining in from. Okay, we have Rehana from Seattle. The chat is not active. Come on, guys. I want to know where you're tuning in from. Okay, we have hi Karina. Hi, Anya. Daisy says thank you to Yuritsa. Yes. All right, we have someone else coming in from Seattle. Maybe there's just a bigger delay than I anticipated. All right, Beacon Hill, Seattle. All right, now we're going. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Soto, Seattle, all right. So a lot of people are coming from Seattle. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, if you need help at any point this evening, we have volunteers standing by to assist. Email events@launchlearning.org to get more detailed help, or you can reach out to one of our help volunteers here in the YouTube chat. Just say you need assistance and someone will connect with you. Okay. Now let's put our chatting skills to the real test. We want to play a little game. You might remember this from last year. We're going to play Launch Kids Know. Each trivia question comes straight from topics that kids have learned at launch. So let's put our knowledge to the test. Do you know what Launch Kids know? All you need to do to play is enter your answer in the chat. Are you ready? All right. Question number 1. Launch Kids had the opportunity to skate with our new NHL team, the Seattle Kraken, in February. The Kraken in Greek mythology is a sea monster, often depicted as an octopus of tremendous size, known to sink entire ships. Off what country's coast was it famously reported to be spotted first? A, Norway, B, France, C, Sweden, or D, Denmark? Go ahead and drop your answers in the chat. The first 3 people to put the right answer will be entered for a chance to win a prize at the end of the show. And since we already know there's a delay, I'm gonna give you some time to drop those answers, and I'm gonna give you some more information. So did you know that the Kraken was also said to have sunk entire cities with ease? Although it is often depicted as an octopus, it's said it was originally more crab-like. Descriptions varied on its size from the length of 10 ships to 1.5 miles long. All right, let's see what you're guessing. All right, we have B, A, Norway. Okay, someone else said Norway, another A, a few Ds. Okay, it's looking like you guys are pretty confident about A, Norway, so let's see if you're right. All right, the correct answer is the Kraken was famously reported to first be spotted off the coast of Norway. The answer is A. So for all of you who guessed that, wonderful job. Everyone else, thank you for guessing, and maybe you'll get the next one right. Now, our behind-the-scenes team will grab the names of the first 3 people who dropped the correct answer. You're gonna wanna wait to stay tuned to the end because all 3 of you have been entered for a chance to win a Visa gift card, and we'll announce the winner at the end of the show. All right, everyone. I know you've been dying to hear about this backdrop behind me. It's truly out of this world. Now, launch students across the galaxy design these stellar lanterns, and I truly feel like I'm on a different planet. One of my favorites is this yellow one in the corner, and it has the streamers hanging down. I don't know, I'm just drawn to that one. But they're all beautiful in their own way and really just show how creative and wonderful the launch kids are. So go ahead and drop in the chat which lantern is speaking to you. Now, this was our way of bringing a little bit of the magic of our launch students here into the studio. By the way, we're broadcasting live from the Canvas event space in Soto, and I have a whole crew backing me up to bring this program to you. Can I hear some noise from the crew? All right, yes. We love that energy, and I hope you do too. Now, let's keep that applause going in the chat while I thank some very important people who helped make tonight possible. Thank you so much to the community partners and sponsors who make the work of Launch possible year-round. Specifically, I'd like to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Davis Wright Tremaine, Family Retirement, and a special thank you to our small business partners, DC Aesthetics, Butter Home, and Gorman Winery. Can we show them some love in the chat? All right, I see the chat has been a little more active, so we love to see that. Now, our community partners and sponsors helped kick off our fundraising for this event. I also want to thank many of you watching who may have already given to our fundraising campaign. Now, let's take a look at our thermometer now. All right, okay, so we've already raised $34,765 towards our goal of $70,000. Thank you so much to those of you who gave to our campaign in the last couple of weeks. And thank you to our campaign captains who helped rally together all these funds for Launch. We'll be honoring some specific fundraising teams later in the program, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't had a chance to give to Launch yet, or maybe you want to make another gift, you still can. Just click the link in the chat and get registered in Give Butter. Now, while you all settle into Give Butter, we're going to give you the opportunity to experience firsthand the important connection between Launch staff and their students. Let's hear from Joe Hamer, a former Launch site manager who is now the training and compliance director for all Launch sites. Joe had the chance to sit down with some Launch alumni last week to talk to them about their experience in the program. Take it away, Joe.
And what did you like about Launch?
I really liked the community, and just like I think it provided a good place to hang out with friends.
Well, for me, you got to like learn and know more about people, and then create better bonds with people.
Yeah.
Every little bit. I loved the events. I loved coming back after school to see everyone with their family, and your cooking.
Oh, thanks.
It was amazing. The sloppy joes are the best.
I'll give you the recipe. It's easy. You can make it at home.
I will.
What else?
I loved just the activities inside too, like the small fuse beads and the 3D pen that we used to have. And going outside was definitely fun too, because you gotta play on the play structure with all your friends, you gotta chat, play in the sun, play tag, all the fun games that you can play outside.
Every Friday we used to play dodgeball. It was fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
What else?
We just gotta do a lot of activities with my friends, etc. The teachers and the staff. It's pretty fun.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Helped me be a better person in the future, and how to be nicer, say nice things, etc.
Well, I think it was really good to like kind of learn how to socially interact with people. Like obviously school is good for that too, but then going and spending more time with people you might not know as well from other grades, and it just really helped me like just kind of become more sure of myself and like learn to talk to people I wouldn't maybe otherwise talk to. And so I really think Launch helped me kind of learn how to socially interact with others.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say that too.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do you remember Launch teachers being like?
Really kind, but sometimes a little strict.
Oh, me? Just a little bit?
No,
Just
like
a little bit.
everyone kind of a little bit.
A little strict?
A little-
There's rules,
Yeah,
laws to follow.
Yeah.
Always so supportive, kind, helping you whenever you needed to. They all had their own personalities. They were very just kind, and they were smart, and they kept everything running smoothly. They were always there for me. They were always there for my friends, They solved problems whenever there was one. And they made me feel safe. They made me feel really good about being at launch.
Yeah.
They were very supporting for when you needed help with like your math problems and stuff and like homework. We would have like specific times to do homework, and then like if you ever needed any help, they could just like, oh, raise your hand. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. I'll help you with this.
Yeah, I forgot
That was
about
pretty
that. Homework time. Yeah, that was
hated
really
homework time.
homework time was really helpful. I remember going to middle school and like now I'm home, but I have to make my own homework time. I forgot about homework time. That helped a lot.
Why do you think the launch is important for kids and families?
Because, well, it's another way for parents to go somewhere and they can just drop off their kids, or after school program, you can just don't have to pick them up because of work.
Yeah.
If you need help, it can make you forget about everything that's bad and make you focus on the good, because the events that happen, it's very, very fun. Like it just makes you forget about all the bad things and focus on the good things, like your friends and the teachers and everything good.
Yeah.
I feel like it's good for parents. Like if they're not able to pick up their kid right after school, they would like the kid could go there and they can pick them up later. Like if the teacher,
Yeah, no, I like gives you a safe space to go. Like I could have taken the bus home, but then I'm just at home for 3 hours or whatever till my parents get home. And I think that obviously when I was a kindergartner, that's not a very good idea. So like launch gives children at least like a safe place to go and have fun.
Yeah.
Until they can go home.
Wow, it was amazing to hear from Launch Kids how the program has impacted them. One thing that really stuck out to me that a few of them said is that Launch is a safe space for them. And that's so important and so wonderful that they recognize that and value that. Also, I see a few of you in the chat were loving the dodgeball as well. All right, so Joe is one of the many dedicated staff and teachers who have shaped Launch these past 45 years. As we celebrate our 45th anniversary, we wanted to take some time to shout out a few special people who have been with Launch for over 10 years. Edelyn Thaves, Joe Hamer, Janae Harris, Flo Florentino, Sherelle Butler, Florence Combs, Kim Lee, Heather Harris, Dora Newman. These folks have dedicated much of their lives to Launch, and our community is so incredibly grateful for their hard work, dedication, and care. All right, everyone, it's that time again. Are you ready for another round of Launch Kids Know? Let's get into it. Now, did you all know that Launch Kids are often able to give input into the subjects they're going to learn? For example, this year, Launch Kids voted to learn more about animals, specifically the blue whale. Let's see if you know this fact about the blue whale. This extremely large marine mammal is the loudest animal on the planet. But just how loud is a blue whale? A, 191 decibels, B, 145 decibels, C, 188 decibels, or D, 210 decibels. All right, I'm gonna give you some time to get those answers in the chat, but as a little hint, I'll give you a point of reference. A jet engine registers at 140 decibels, and a blue whale is louder than that. Another fun fact that Launch Kids want you all to know is that the blue whale is not only the loudest animal, but is the largest and heaviest animal on planet Earth. It can weigh 50 to 200 tons. Even as a baby, blue whales enter the world as one of the planet's biggest animals, weighing 3 tons and measuring 25 feet long. All right. Let's see those answers in the chat. We have C, 188, D, 210, C, D, 210, A. All right, we're getting a mixed bag of answers, so let's see what the correct answer is. It is C, 188 decibels. Now, backstage team, let's add 3 of those guessers to the drawing. Now, seeing how excited and active you all are in the chat reminds me how big of a community Launch is. The launch community came together a few weeks ago when we launched our fundraising campaign, and you all came out to show your support for the work Launch does. As teams, you all fundraised for Launch, and we'd like to acknowledge a few teams who went above and beyond. First, let's start with the largest fundraising team. This team with the most individual donors, which ended up being 10 donors so far. Our largest fundraising team is Angela's Shooting Stars. Let's hear it for Team Shooting Stars. Put some rocket ship emojis in the chat for these folks. Okay, next up is the team with the widest geographic spread. This team received donations all the way from New Jersey. Wow. And that team is Taj Wallace. All right, and last but not, but put some rocket ship emojis in the chat for that team as well. All right, and last but not least is our top fundraising team. That's the team that raised the most funds for Launch overall, raising $10,000 and $775 together as a team. Can I get a drum roll, please? Put those drum emojis in the chat. And our top team is Andrew Buhayer. Now let's see all those rocket ship emojis, applause, hearts, confetti, whatever celebratory emojis you can find. Put them in the chat for these amazing teams and individuals. Beautiful, I'm looking at the chat now. So beautiful. All right, y'all are the heart of this event. Thank you to everyone who showed up and gave these past few weeks. Now keep in mind that our campaign isn't over. Yes, there is still time to shake up the rankings and show your support for the awesomeness of Launch. So log in to Give Butter and keep spreading the word to your friends and family. All right, now speaking of the awesomeness of Launch, I'd like to introduce two very important people who've made Launch awesome over the years. I'd like to invite to the stage Dr. Angela Griffin, the current CEO of Launch. Angela has more than 28 years of experience working in education, early learning, childcare, and youth development programs. Before coming to Launch, Angela spent 7 years as the Chief Program Officer at Treehouse, where she has led the agency in achieving its ambitious goal of increasing the graduation rate for youth experiencing foster care and scaling vital services statewide. Prior to Treehouse, Angela was a transformational leader of programs for children birth to age 12 for the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club. She has also taught middle school and provided educational coaching to students in alternative high schools. I'd also like to bring Brianna Jackson to the stage. Brianna Jackson was a part of Launch for 20 years in a variety of roles, including as a parent, board member, teacher, site manager, operations manager, director of operations, and then executive director. She was a part of Launch back when we were still called CDSA and got to see a lot of change and growth in the organization over the years. Brianna is currently the Education Program Officer at the Stottle Family Foundation, where she leads the foundation's education and youth development related grant making. Let's hear a big round of applause for Dr. Angela Griffin and Brianna Jackson.
Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our 45th anniversary. And it is so awesome to take the stage with you tonight, Brianna.
Yes.
I'm just so honored to be in this space with you and continue to thank you for your commitment and contribution to our work.
My pleasure. I wouldn't be anywhere else tonight but here.
Thank you. So could you tell us, what are some of your favorite memories about your time at Launch when you were here?
I mean, I have so many. I really had the honor of joining the organization at 18 years old and didn't leave till almost 40. So I had a lot of time at the organization, and some of my favorite memories are just the way we really grew our services in the community. So expanding our preschool programs in the early 2000s, becoming early adopters of Seattle preschool program, and actually super proud because we were like one of the first adopters of just cities of Seattle funded preschool. So that was really critical. Our work really around racial equity and deepening that amongst our staff and community. I'm really proud of the rebranding work that we did, taking it from CDSA to Launch. I am excited and thrilled that we were able to take our programs to a place where we were serving more than 1,100 kids a year. So that's really exciting. And one of the other pieces too that I'll mention lastly is just taking on a larger role. And when I talk about this larger role, it's using our voice. And that was really critical for us to use our voice in places where families couldn't, right? Or at tables where they couldn't be. So I'm really proud of the work that we did on that to really show up for families.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So now you are Executive Director, CEO, and I do not envy you that you came on at a time of a worldwide pandemic, right?
Yes.
And I'm so proud of the work that you and your team really did to, again, show up and show out for community. So when you look back on the last year, 2 years at launch, what are you most proud of?
Wow. So as you mentioned, I came on to launch at the height of the pandemic. And what I've been really proud of is how our staff just continue to work with and on behalf of our students. And, when the schools went remote, they went remote right along with them. And we're serving our kids full day and just keeping that continuing of education and learning and enrichment going. And that was really empowering to step into an environment where our staff really cared strongly about the outcomes for the kids that we serve. Also, we've expanded our scope to birth to 3. And that has been a great work of really supporting parents in our community. And we have a program that we're going to be starting in the spring. And I think it's going to just take off, and we're going to be much more successful with that age group as well. We've had the opportunity to hire a family support specialist. And she is bringing resources and support services to the families that we serve, and mainly our preschool age kids, but we're learning some ways that we can better serve the families that are with our school age children as well. We've increased our tuition assistance dollars and how much we provide in financial resources to our families so that they can continue to engage. This year, we actually increased it by 340%.
Wow.
340%. And over 112 families benefited from our tuition assistance. And so that was critical through the pandemic, but we know that that's going to be an ongoing opportunity. And then we actually do have a little bit of numbers that we would like to be able to share when we think about our work around equity. And so we've been able to make sure that our organization is on a pathway of becoming an anti-racist multicultural organization. And that has been very, very important as we continue to diversify the number of students that we serve and the identities that are part of the makeup of our kids in our community, as well as the staff that we serve. We are truly a BIPOC-led, BIPOC-serving organization, and that's making a critical difference in our community. And then strengthening the partnerships with schools, with community organizations, advocating legislatively. That has been a huge part of the work over this past year.
Incredible.
Yes. So even though you're no longer at launch, you do continue to stay engaged.
Yes.
And your work that you do with the funder, Stolte Foundation, you're focused on education. And so tell us a little bit about what you see in the landscape. Where are the needs that exist in community? And then also, where are some of the bright spots?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with some of the bright spots, right? I think in the last 2 years, as we all know, we've been through a lot across the world, across the globe with this pandemic. And one of the things, while it has been trying, right, times, one of the things that's been really incredible is to see the increase in understanding of how important childcare, early learning program, out of school time program, summer programming is vital for families, right? We knew that. But it's really great to see really the field and sort of others outside of the field recognize that. One of the other things too has been this real increased focus on community and equity. So again, I think these were things in I would say in our field that we knew very well and we're already practicing, but we're seeing a lot more funders, we're seeing a lot more partners, we're seeing even, again, outside of, on the business community, really focused on like, how do we sort of show up in community in a different way, and how do we show up in, with equitable practices. So that's been really incredible. The other piece that's been interesting too is capacity building. So capacity building, infrastructure building, we know it's critical and it's important. It's not a nice to have, but it's necessary. And we're seeing more and more, especially in philanthropy, that funders and foundations are wanting to show up for organizations, community in a different way and saying, hey, you can't do those programs unless you have the capacity to do so. So that's been really encouraging to see it move in that direction. One of the other things too, and this is something that we are diving more into, is around this advocacy and strong systems piece. So we know that so much organizations are really doing the intervention, you're doing the prevention, you're doing all of it on the ground. But it's going to continue to be an uphill battle, right? If we do not have better policies that are crafted and implemented, community-driven for children and families. So we are seeing also more funding, more resources going towards those two things. You've got to pull together the practice and the policy. So being able to see that alignment has been really incredible, to be on the other side and to be able to sort of fund some of those opportunities. You know, there's a lot of challenges still, right? Families are out of work, folks are struggling. There is going to be long-term impacts of this pandemic. But I will say that one of the things another thing that we're seeing is this building of coalitions and building of networks that have really come together and say, again, what does community need? How can we show up for it? And, you know, I have seen that in these trying times and these difficult times, it's been beautiful to watch people come together and do what's best for our kids and do what's best for families. So proud to still be a part of that work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, is what I've been thinking a lot about as we move into the next few years here at launch is that there is an opportunity for us to continue to consider expansion, and not just demographically, but also in the types of services that we provide. I also believe that we are going to continue to strengthen our work, our racial equity work. We have a committee, a racial equity committee, that's helping us develop a racial equity plan. And then our hope is to move along that continuum of becoming an anti-racist, multicultural organization as we continue to serve more communities of color, more communities with diverse identities. And then most importantly, I would say that there is a need to make sure that we're providing equitable pay for our staff, and so that they're not just earning a living wage, but they're earning a thriving wage. And that's going to take some real advocacy politically. We're talking a lot to our state and federal and even local legislators around ways that there can be a greater investment in the child care sector, and then also just identifying what does it cost to truly provide the level of quality care that we provide through our services, and making sure that the staff who have committed and dedicated themselves to providing that care are paid equitably. And so that's going to be a huge lift, but I think we are positioned
very well
to make it, and looking forward to
that. That's such a beautiful vision, and thank you for sharing that. And thank you for your continued commitment and the commitment of your staff to really, again, show up and show out for the kids of the community and those that you serve. It's just so critical, and so I thank you for that. And thank you for letting me be a part of this tonight.
All right. Well, thank you, Brianna, again for joining. And then I'd just like to say we do have a video that's going to be shared, and that video is going to showcase a little bit more about the impact at launch. So, thank you.
Thank you.
We believe that part of being a kid is being a kid, having fun, playing, getting to be silly. This year we celebrate 45 years of helping children and are proud to have served over 25,000 students and their families who have come through our doors.
My name is Savannah. I'm in 5th grade, and I think I've been going to launch since 2nd grade. I've made a lot of friends in launch, or friends that I actually make in school. I don't really know what it is. It's just I make a lot of friends during launch.
Launch is a nonprofit that provides early learning before and after school and summer programs age 3 to 12. We give kids the opportunity to learn through hands-on projects and activities, allowing them opportunities to take ownership, leading and exploring things that are important to them. My name's Rachel. I am the program site manager.
I've just known Miss Rachel for a long time. I like to sit in her office sometimes and do my work and talk to her. And when she sometimes when our teacher's on a break or something, she'll come to our class and be our teacher until our actual teacher comes back.
Savannah has been in the launch program since I've been here for the last 3 years. And Savannah was a 3rd grader when I started. Savannah's definitely a leader, so she tries to be neutral and try to work through things if kids are having issues. She'll talk with them, and like I said, she's very helpful. She always wants to help. She wants to help set out the art project. She wants to maybe come over from her classroom to the younger kids group and help them through circle time.
At first, I didn't really like Launch because there were other programs I wanted to go to, but now I only want to go to Launch because all the teachers are fun. It's fun hanging out with Miss Rachel and Mr. Jeff.
We actually just had a really good moment recently. I don't think she realizes how good of a moment it was, but I had been out for a couple weeks. And when I came back, she just ran up to me and hugs me and is like, Miss Rachel, I'm so glad you're back. And she's like, every single day, I just hoped you were here. And I don't think she realized how special that moment was to me. We believe that Launch is an and organization. There are a lot of places for kids that only serve high income or low income participants. But we believe that everybody is welcome and do our best to make sure that kids are able to play and thrive regardless of income.
Hi, my name is Tressa. I am 32, Seattle native. Mama one, Savannah, she's in 5th grade this year. This was a rough year for Savannah and I, so Miss Rachel has just been very good about checking in with her.
I have built a good relationship with Savannah's mom. Me and her communicate regularly. You know, if there's some things that she needs to talk to me or anything, you know, like most parents, if they're struggling with something or want to give praise or whatever, we have a good relationship.
Launch is extremely valuable to the kids and the families of the community they serve. They make it affordable, which is needed for childcare. Childcare gets expensive. I didn't know about the internal assistance, and I was just talking with Miss Rachel about wondering if I could split my payments throughout the month, and so she just took it upon herself to let me know, like, there's this program, I'll reach out, I'll ask, I'll see what it takes to qualify, and she really kind of just walked me all the way through it. It helped a lot, which allowed Savannah to continue to stay at Launch this year.
I believe that Launch really truly cares about the children, the families, the teachers, and everybody that's involved. Sometimes kids go to programs where they want to be home and they don't want to, but all I hear is, I want to be at Launch, I want to be at Launch.
Launch is fun. You can learn a lot of new stuff from Launch.
Launch allows us to be who we are. Launch allows us to be creative. They want us to bring our creativity with us wherever we go. They want us to shine. They care. They really care, and the kids are happy. And they're always happy.
We love you, Launch. Thank you.
What a great glimpse into Launch. It was so beautiful to see the relationship between Miss Rachel, Tressa, and Savannah, and how Launch staff and parents are working together to make sure that the kids at Launch are getting their needs met and being supported. Now, I'd also like to thank Angela and Brianna again for joining us for an insightful and powerful conversation. All right, now it's time for the moment that brings us all here tonight. It's time to show your support for all the incredible work that Launch does. We've just dropped a link in the chat to donate to Launch and show your support. No matter what level you give at, you'll be supporting the amazing work of Launch. We've seen how much the community can do through our fundraising campaign this month, and tonight, you all have heard about the impact of Launch from so many folks, from Launch students and parents to that wonderful conversation between Brianna and Angela. Actually, hey, Angela, why don't you join me up here? All right. I heard you had an exciting announcement.
I do. I am really excited to share that tonight we have a great match from the Launch Board of Directors. Our board members engage with our organization as volunteers. Some have been parents, some are community members, some represent corporations and businesses, and they continue to give selflessly of their time, their talent, and their treasures to support Launch's mission. And so tonight, I'm pleased to announce that our board has generously offered to match up to $10,000 for all gifts made tonight. And I just want to say a huge thank you to all of our amazing board members for your steadfast commitment to our great work.
Wow, thank you so much, Angela. Now, that's an amazing opportunity. This means that your gifts will be matched dollar for dollar. You can double your impact by giving to Launch tonight. Now is the time, so come on in, join us here on Planet Launch. And if you've already given, maybe add an additional $45 to celebrate the 45 years of Launch. As you consider what size of gift to give today, think about our tuition assistance program that ensures any family who wants to come to Launch can come. I think Angela said earlier that it was helped 121 families, is that correct? 121 families have been helped from the tuition assistance program. Now, we never turn a family away for inability to pay. You heard from Tressa and Savannah earlier about how important Launch has been, both for the learning experience, but also to help build and strengthen relationships. Our family engagement support specialist helps us connect and do outreach to provide other resources and funding sources for families. Help us connect families to all the resources they need to thrive. More than 25,000 children have been served by Launch over the last 45 years. Your support today keeps this legacy going strong by ensuring that more young people have access to high-quality early learning, after-school, and summer programs that support social, emotional, and academic skills development. Head to Give Butter and give to Launch tonight. Let's show them some Launch love. And while you're in Give Butter, you'll see there's an option for monthly or quarterly giving. If that's more up your alley, feel free to give that way. Isn't Netflix like $20 a month now? How about adding $20 a month and subscribe to the work of Launch? Now, let's take another look at the thermometer. Okay, this is amazing. We are more than halfway towards our goal. We have $36,225. So keep the gifts coming in because you are making a huge difference. As you all continue to give, I'm going to share some kind notes posted by donors this month on our Give Butter page. From the Yari Dodi family, thanks for all of the support over all these years. You have made a big difference in our lives and saved us through this pandemic. Martha says, thank you for all the great work that you do. Mil gracias. From the Robitaille family, Launch is such a blessing in our lives and in our community. We are so thankful for the intention Launch takes in making every child and family feel like they belong. They matter and they are safe and loved. The teachers and staff are so helpful and kind, even through this very stressful and uncertain time. Thank you. Violet and Ruby Freeman said, thank you for supporting our community. Barbara says, congrats on 45 years. May Launch continue to serve the children for years to come. Thank you all so much for your generous support and kind words. Now I'd like to bring one more person to the stage who's crucial to the operations here at Launch. Our Director of Development and Marketing, Rehana Lane-Walla.
Hi, I'm Rehana Lane-Walla, the Director of Development and Marketing at Launch. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to be here tonight and support our work. Your generosity truly makes a difference for our students and their families. If you'd like to stay involved with Launch, there are lots of ways to help. We're always looking for volunteers in programs with kids. There are lots of things you can do. You can read to kids, lead a science experiment, do a cooking activity, do an art or music project, or a whole host of other possibilities. And there's both virtual and in-person volunteer activities. We're also looking for volunteers to join our board of directors. So if you're interested in any of these options, please email info@launchlearning.org. And please make sure to read our e-newsletters and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to stay up to date on our programs and how you can support our work. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, Rehana. And before we close out the evening, why don't you stay on stage with me for a second? We're gonna play one more round of Launch Kids Know. Would you like to do the honors?
I'd love to. Okay, outer space and our solar system is one of the many subjects that Launch Kids learn. So one thing that Launch Kids know about our solar system is that it takes more than a lifetime for some planets to orbit the sun. Earth has the third shortest orbit at 365 days. Neptune, however, is the furthest planet from the sun. So how long does it take Neptune to orbit around the sun one time? A, 11 years, 9 months. B, 1 year, 9 months. C, 84 years. Or D, 164 years, 8 months.
That's a long time. Now, Rehana, did you know that Neptune is the furthest planet from the sun and the last planet to be discovered in 1846? It is extremely cold with temperatures estimated at negative 366 degrees Fahrenheit. Humans would freeze, obviously, and sink as its gravitational force is stronger than Earth's gravity.
Wow, that's crazy. So I guess, what are people guessing in the chat? I'm super curious to see who's going to get this.
All right.
All right.
There's a
I
lot
see.
of D's and C's in here.
There's a mixed bag. I see a B,
Yeah.
C's, D's.
All right.
Wow. Okay. So are we ready to hear the final answer? It takes Neptune 164 years and 8 months to orbit the sun. So that means that launch is only a quarter of the way around that orbit. Can you imagine what we'll do by the time Neptune has made its way all the way around the sun? Okay, that's it for Launch Kids Know. So backstage team, let's enter those final names into our drawing.
All right. And before we announce the winner, we want you to know that if you haven't had a chance to give tonight, it's not too late. Our fundraising campaign will close on March 31st, so you have time to give. Your donations mean the world to us and allows Launch to continue to provide affordable and equitable programming for kids of any background. And if you already gave, thank you. Why not give again? $45 to celebrate our anniversary. Plus, you can share the donation link with your friends and family to amplify your donation. Together, we can ignite brilliance for the kids in our community. And now it's finally the time to announce our trivia winner. You'll see on your screen our wheel of names. Throughout the program, we've had someone collect the names of 3 names of correct guessers for each round of trivia. Congrats! You all know what Launch Kids know. Now, can I get some more drum emojis in the chat and get a drum roll? Let's spin that wheel, and the winner is... Oh, Jen Pegarito. All right, congratulations, Jen. Please send an email to events@launchlearning.org and we'll follow up with you about your prize. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Can I have everyone join me back on the stage? Yes. Now, it means so much to us to celebrate these 45 years with our community tonight. Thank you all for making Launch what it is. Now, if you would like to keep the party going, you can join us back in Remo using the link that we just dropped in the chat. Otherwise, thanks for your generous support of Launch, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.